Wrong. Again. No. Have you met her? That inner voice that shows up every time you're trying to speak in English? If you're like my students, dedicated women living a full life in English, even though it's not your native language, I'm sure you've met her. That inner voice sometimes becomes your inner critic, and usually at the most inopportune times, like when you're simply trying to order a cup of coffee at Starbucks and you wonder, is that how I say whole milk? Or you're in the middle of a really good conversation with a friend and it's flowing and you're ready to share something funny and you pause to rethink that word. Your inner voice doesn't need to be your inner critic. It can become your cheerleader. That cheerleader that helps you to speak clearly and to feel confident. And so today I want to talk to you about something that could actually be hurting your confidence. Why trying to sound American kills confidence and what to do instead. When you first move to the United States or you land your US-based job, it's totally normal to want to sound clear. You want to be understood. You want to be perceived as somebody who's professional. But then it gets deeper. You don't only want to sound clear and be understood. You want to feel like you belong. You want to fit in. I remember this feeling all so well. Even though I'm a native English speaker, I lived abroad as an immigrant for 10 years. And I remember just thinking, if I can just sound like them, do like them, be like them, it will be easier. There won't be this barrier. That very human feeling of wanting to belong usually lends itself to sound like an American or sound native. But here's why it will backfire. Number 1, overperformance kills presence. Yes, clarity matters, absolutely. But when you're overthinking every single sound, overperforming, you're not embodying the language. And so even though the words come out, they won't land. Have you ever seen a bobblehead, one of those little characters that sit on the dashboard of a car? Their head's moving, but they're disconnected from their body. Please remember that in English, the way that you sound or your performance of the language goes beyond the words that you say. You have your facial features, you have how you're breathing, how it resonates here, you have your gestures, and all of these transmit confidence. Confidence is not only shown with words, it's shown by being a human and having presence. Your presence shows your confidence, but overperforming kills that presence. So in this age of AI, where everything seems to be so curated and so perfect, please remember that language has never been a technical computer skill. Language is about communication, and that's something that happens between two living people. So rather than trying to have this perfect sounding English by overperforming, you will sound more confident if you're connected to your body and you let your entire body and your gestures and everything else speak for you and with you. Number 2, hyperfocus hurts rhythm. Another thing that happens when you're trying to sound American or too perfect when speaking English is you end up losing your natural rhythm. In my live classes, we do hyperfocus on sounds. First, I'll teach you the mouth mechanics to get that sound isolated, how to use it here. Then we'll use that sound in specific words. Third, we'll move on to using the sound in sentences, and then we'll train your ear to hear the sound and finally to speak the sound. When you're in a live coaching session, you need that level of focus. But when you're actually speaking to a coworker or having dinner with your US-born spouse, that is not the time to have that level of focus. You just want to connect naturally. And English is a language where we need rhythm for it to land well. So you can think about it like this. Imagine a surfer. They're on that wave. They go up, across, down. There's this up and down gliding, and it's very nice. But imagine that same surfer who tries to be at the top of the wave every time. What could happen? Well, they'll probably have some back pain. They might even drown. Hopefully not. But it won't be fun. And this is what happens when you overfocus every single sound in English. You become harder to understand. You will feel that it's painful. You won't enjoy the conversation, and neither will your listener. You may even feel like you're drowning. Please remember that some words in English need to be on that high wave, while others need to be on the low wave. We need this up and down to have natural rhythm, and hyperfocus is not the key for clarity or confidence. And finally, trying to sound American often leaves you feeling stressed and tired. When you're over-enunciating, overthinking, overperforming, what happens? Your heart rate goes faster, your breath becomes shallow, and those things are just basic science. What does confidence look like? Confidence looks like a calm rate, looks like deep breathing, a grounded energy. So when you're feeling that way, then your words can show up that way. Remember that confidence goes further than just the words that you say. We need to think confidently, feel confidently, and will sound confident. Now you know why trying to sound American can actually hurt your confidence. So what can you do instead? In our classes, we do focus on the nuances of the American accent, like bath versus bath. But more than that, we focus on how to become clearer by changing mouth shapes. And when you understand just that tiny tweak, how it impacts your clarity, then you will want to speak more. And when you're wanting to speak more, feeling empowered, it will show up as confident speech. But first, you need to know, well, what are the sounds that I need to improve? And which ones will impact the clarity the most? And how to do it. In addition to just the technical how to sound piece of accent training, at Yash Accent, we also invite you to do some mindset work. Ask yourself, why should people listen to my message? What do I have to share? How will what I have to say benefit others? The answers to those questions do not change just because English is not your native language. You are still the same person in English as you are in your native language. Accent clarity does not mean losing your identity. And if this resonates, if you want to sound clearer without overthinking, without overperforming, without silencing yourself, then I invite you to take an accent evaluation. Together, I'll help you identify which sounds will boost your clarity, how you can sound more confident, and how you can feel more like yourself in English. You don't need to sound like someone else. You just need support in letting you come through more clearly. I'll see you next time.